Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joining with me, as always, my co-host Furiosa. Furiosa, how are you today?
I missed you.
Well, I was listening back to our Furiosa episode and you said that they were your new pronoun, so I thought I'd only respect you by referring to you as Furiosa from now on.
Well, thank you for remembering. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know if you've seen the news, but Furiosa has been pulled from cinemas after 2 weeks. It did not do the numbers that we thought it would.
People just don't deserve good things.
No, it's a shame. Yeah, we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things.
No. But people shouldn't deserve good things either. So, I guess people, like I said, David, just want to watch Vin Diesel drive off an exploding dam. And then front on dam. Guess that's just the world we live in.
It's a shame. It's a damn shame. But we won't dwell on the past. It's a damn shame. We won't dwell on the past. Brian, have you got a trailer of the week for us before we kick things off?
Yeah, I do. And I quite like this trailer, David. Venom, The Last Dance.
Yeah, Venom, the finale, it seems, in the trilogy of Venom movies. The movies that we didn't, I don't know about you, I did not think that these would have the legs to go for a trilogy.
We got 3 Venom movies before a Blade movie.
Yeah, that's a modern Blade movie, yeah. That's funny to think about, alright. I see, that's the thing is, I think I like Venom more in my memory than I actually do watching the films. Because I rewatched the first one and Let There Be Carnage there towards the end of last year, and like they were fine. They're not nearly as bad as some of the other stuff that Sony puts out. Cough cough, Morbius, cough cough, Madam Web. But I'm just surprised. Maybe I suppose the first one did very, very well financially, and that warranted getting not 1 but 2 sequels now. And I like Tom Hardy.
The first one did around 700, and the second one did around 500 at the box office. So we're always going to get a third movie. We always were. We never weren't not. Of course we were going to get a third one because they were, for the majority, more receptive. Well, and as far as Sony goes, it is their leading franchise equivalent to their catalogue of superhero characters, and they just started off with the Venom, making him an anti-hero, but it's not as if they're the first one to do it, and they're just progressing to the next one. And I think I really liked the first one for what it was, and the second one I did like it, but I never went back to watch it, and I don't know if I will for this third one. But I watched the trailer for this one, knowing not just where the stories have been going in its universe, but also in the universe of the MCU, as well as the shit show of movies Sony's been shooting out. I actually liked the trailer for this one. I liked where it might go. I liked the somewhat new exteriors, the new settings, how he's not just in New York anymore, how he doesn't seem to be a reporter anymore. He seems to be on his own. We don't know if his ex is going to be in this. We don't know really what makes sense either, because we're seeing Chiwetel Ejiofor in this, and while we can assume he's just playing a character created for the movie and not Mordo, we do know that Rhys Ifans, who everyone knows or can recall, he played the Lizard in The Amazing Spider-Man. Apparently he's in the trailer in a paddy wagon, in like one of those trucks, in a hippie truck, playing a guitar. And while he does not look like Dr. Kurt Connors, of course people are just gonna clash the assumptions or the fan theories, and I'm not gonna do that. For me,
no,
they're just
me neither.
They're just actors playing characters, and I'm not gonna read much into it, and I feel like I'm gonna be the one to say, yeah, I told you so, when nothing came of it. But all in all, with the trailer, I liked it. I like the horse scene. I like the somewhat action scenes. I don't fully agree how Tom Hardy's Venom goes about eating heads of people who chose a different life. I don't think a lot of people deserve getting their heads eaten off in this franchise, and it's passed off as a joke as opposed to a heavy situation. And Juno Temple, who everyone loves from Ted Lasso, was in this, playing Dr. Scientist, and I know her from a lot of other stuff. She was in a show called Vinyl that was cancelled, and forever remained a show I wish that never got cancelled. But she was also in Fargo, so I'm trying to popularize her catalogue of work that's not Ted Lasso, because I'm not a fan of I suppose Ted Lasso. And
You're gonna have people coming for you now, blasphemy in some circles, but
they can come and try.
yeah, like I completely agree with you in terms of the whole fan theories and stuff like that, because if there's one lesson I've learned from these Sony movies is just don't think too hard about it, because they don't have a head like Kevin Feige, who is meticulously planning and how everything needs to work in together. It doesn't make sense. It does not at all make sense that Chiwetel Ejiofor is there and he is collecting the sample from the bar, because as we saw in No Way Home, the sample was left in the MCU, in the main universe that we all know as the MCU, but yet here he is collecting it, even though he's played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who plays Mordo in it. So, and like that, yeah, Rhys Ifans, who is Kirk Connors, the Lizard, he's appearing in it. He could be playing Kirk Connors, he could be playing an entirely different character. It genuinely does not matter. I think that's kind of the way that I go into it, is there's no actual, even though there might be the thinnest veil of continuity between these and trying to connect them to other movies, it's not as well thought out as it needs to be. There needs to be someone on set that is actually working with Marvel.
I think they're different characters, and I think that the Venom movies has done a decent job to maintain consistency, and that's why I said Venom movies, not their Sony Spider-Man movies. I think the Venom movies are the Avengers in the Sony industry, whereas the Madam Web is a fraction of quality in that of Thor The Dark World or Iron Man 2. Those movies are way better. So if this Venom The Last Dance ends with a tease of Sinister Six yet again, then I think that'll conclude it, because we do know that they didn't know what to do with Morbius when they were doing it. They kept on going back and forth, and they wanted to do something without it making sense, but for the sake of doing it, because it could build upon the franchise. And
they see the Avengers making billions upon billions each time, and they're like, oh, we want that, but they're not willing to put in the work.
No, they want to force it, and that's why, well, hey, we'll just shove Michael Keaton in there, and that's what they did, but made no sense.
Yeah.
And Madam Web was, hindsight, I thought it was bold and courageous that they greenlit a Madam Web movie. But looking back now in hindsight, I'm like, what a joke. We'll know more for sure with Craven coming out. But in fact, isn't Craven coming out after Venom?
Yeah, Craven initially was supposed to come out before Madam Web, I'm pretty sure. He was supposed to come out last October, so it's actually been pushed now after Venom. So Craven should have come out before Madam Web and Venom, and now comes out after both. So it comes out at Christmas time, and I think I read somewhere that a Sony executive said, yeah, we pushed it to this is ridiculous, okay? We pushed it to Christmas because we think people will want to see this again and again, and we want them to have time off from work so they can go and see this movie as many times as possible. I don't know if that's a joke or that is someone who is delusioned into thinking that they're serious, that they've drank the Kool-Aid. They're like, oh yeah, Craven is our best movie. It's like, okay, if it was your best movie, I really highly doubt that it would be pushed a full year and after two other films.
Well, it was originally pushed because of the strikes, wasn't it? Because it had a trailer released before it was pushed. I remember Dune was another one, and Challengers was another one. Those movies were pushed after having released their trailers. Craven's the last one. It was supposed to be released in October, but now it's been pushed back to the end of the year, so why, I don't know. But yeah, Venom, The Last Dance.
Okay, so I know we spent a long time talking about that, so we'll move on to our main feature. So we're going to be talking about Hitman, which is the new Richard Linklater, Glen Powell film, released on Netflix. It is number 1 on Netflix right now. It's one that, I don't know about you, I was anticipating this quite a long time.
How long?
I couldn't give you an exact time frame. It was one that I remember seeing. It was talked about at film festivals and stuff like that. It had gotten its kind of premiere at Sundance, I believe it was, and people talking about it and how it was brilliant. But then it was bought by Netflix and kind of nearly, it felt like it was shelved for a while. Like we were waiting on it for a long time. I remember just the one teaser image that was released of him with long hair, Glen Powell with long hair.
And the glasses.
And the glasses, yeah. But that was it until it was revealed there. It feels like only recent enough where it did get its finally announcement that it was going to release in June. Like only in the last couple of months.
Yeah, last couple of months, I believe. But if you followed me on Letterboxd, you would see that on my watch list, it's quite close to the first movies I have on my watch list. Like, I add movies to my watch list in order of their trailer release dates. So it was quite close to, let's say, towards Inside Out 2 or something like that. So if it's close around there, it means I added it to my watch list around there because it's when the trailer was released. And I guess that's why it makes sense that it has a 2023 release date on it as opposed to a 2024.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm looking at it here now, actually. Yeah, it's 2023 rather than 24. So yeah, the film obviously stars Glen Powell as a mild-mannered professor who does a little bit of work on the side for the police and finds himself in a situation where he has to go undercover as a hitman. And let me tell you something, if I ever saw a man enjoy pretending to be a hitman, it was Glen Powell in this movie. He just seemed to just take it like a duck to water. Absolutely loved it. I don't know about you, I felt like not only the character, but Glen Powell himself was just having so much fun in this film. So much fun in this role.
Please continue.
No, I want to get your input on it. What did you think of his performance in the role? I don't want to go through the film on a plot by plot basis, plot point and stuff like that. But we can talk about different aspects of it.
Well, I thought Glen Powell was quite good actually when I was watching this movie throughout. Not his disguises, but just how he performed himself. Whether it was all the gimmicks he was putting on display or he was genuinely acting as the character he was. I thought he was good, and he's a raw talent, and the franchise and intellectual properties haven't roped him in yet. Jurassic World tried to rope him in, but he declined it. I saw that. Did you hear that? He was offered a role in the upcoming Jurassic movie, and he declined it because he felt, I couldn't make this movie better. Don't know what that means, but he's coming up in the Twisters movie, and he was previously in Anyone But You. But I think the world came to know him as Hangman from Top Gun Maverick.
Absolutely.
I absolutely remember him. Oh, my Expendables 3.
Expendables 3 for you. That's funny because for me it's Spy Kids 3D. Game over.
Well, isn't that an after the fact?
No. That was his starring role. That was his lead role. That was his number one, one of his first roles, I'm pretty sure.
So you watched, what was it, Spy Kids or Sharp Boy and Love Girl? Spy Kids?
Spy Kids 3D. In 2003, when I was the ripe age of 6, I watched that film and I went, that Glen Powell, he's going to be someone. You mark my words, he's going to be someone one of these days.
Well, I can officially tell you I did not think that when I saw The Expendables 3. But he wasn't bad in it. I just recall, his name on the trailer, where those Expendables movies in the trailers, they always list Stallone, Statham, Lee, Lundgren, Cruise, all their surnames. Whereas, of course, in Expendables 3, you have all these big name actors, and here comes a few new recruits. Oh, the guy from that Twilight franchise, Ronda Rousey, and then Powell. It's like, who the fuck is Powell? Who the hell is this guy? Never seen him before in my life, and for a while I never saw him in anything really after that. Now, he was in the odd movie here and there, Ride Along 2, I think, and some other movie that I'm sure I'm forgetting. He was Trader number 2 in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, or
I remember
Dark
that.
Rises. Yes. I don't. He Trader number 2. That means he had a day's worth of shooting probably. So yes, Hangman in Top Gun Maverick. And now he
kind of, I think he shot to fame with that. He was one of those, like you said there, he's one of those faces that you kind of nearly recognize, be like generic hot guy number 2, like you said, but when it came to Top Gun, he like a lot of characters in that, or a lot of actors, especially. Well, I think he was the breakout star of it. Miles Teller, obviously the other one, and then Tom Cruise. I think you've heard of Tom Cruise, right?
Have you heard of Lewis Pullman?
Lewis Pullman. I've heard of Lewis Pullman, yeah. But have you heard of Tom Cruise? That's what I want. Yeah. Like this little known actor. He was in the first Top Gun. He was in the second one. But he was standing next to Glen Powell in Top Gun Maverick.
Was he the guy in that one scene with Val Kilmer in Top Gun?
Val Kilmer. Yeah, he's actually, you know the way it's called Top Gun Maverick? He actually played Maverick, not Top Gun. He played Maverick.
Right, okay. So I think what we're trying to say is that we've, as a collective, have witnessed the birth of a star.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he genuinely, from this movie, because I had seen him in, like that you were saying, Anyone But You, right? Obviously, that was start of the year. Quite funny. I think it did really, really well in terms of like getting people on board with going to see a romantic comedy again, because romantic comedies seem to just be kind of pushed to the wayside, and they're streamers. You don't go out to the cinema to see it, but that Anyone But You seemed to do really, really well. I'm anticipating to see him in Twisters.
He's playing... You could compare Glen Powell to certain characters of a certain era. So, for example, when he played Hangman in Top Gun, I could be way off, but I know I'm not. He was channeling his inner Val Kilmer in that movie.
Val Kilmer, yeah.
In Twisters, he's a profile of Bill Paxton. Isn't that right? Mm-hmm. So that's the way I'm seeing it. And now with the likes of Hitman here, I don't know why. I had to... Maybe I forced this in my head, but I feel like he was playing a role that could be easily played by the likes of, let's say, a slightly younger Matt Damon.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, this guy, he's new, he's fresh, but he's getting all the right and appropriate roles to start getting his breakthrough in certain IP, and he's yet to be franchised, and I hope he doesn't get to be for a while. However, I don't know if it's on record between me and you about who we thought would be a great casting choice to play the upcoming Booster Gold for James Gunn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Glen Powell is a judicial choice to play Booster Gold in his upcoming show for HBO Max.
I 100% agree. Absolutely. I think that he would be a great Booster Gold. However, while watching this film and seeing him go through the kind of Hitman, all the different personas and stuff like that, I actually would really love to see him as Indiana Jones. If they ever decided to reboot Indiana Jones, I'd actually love to see Glen Powell take on that role. Because I think that he is someone who, in a similar vein to Harrison Ford, would just love the role and like wouldn't want to ever give it up. Like he would take over the role and he would play that into his 80s. Do you know? It's like one that he seems like he would have a lot of fun with it.
It's funny. I saw the trailer for the upcoming Indiana Jones in the Grey Circle. A trailer released recently, and I watched it. And I'm actually looking forward to watching that. Watching the gameplay and the campaign and the storyline. And yeah, you're right. He would come across as a very good Indiana Jones. I think regardless of it being just a franchise blockbuster that may or may not make money, he would have to still put forth a magnificent performance and not just play a caricature of either Harrison Ford or Indiana Jones, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's unpopular to say, but I thought Alden Ehrenreich did a really great job playing a young Han Solo as opposed to playing a caricature of Harrison Ford.
Yeah, the way you've put it there, yeah, exactly. I would want Glen Powell to do to Indiana Jones what Alden Ehrenreich did for Han Solo.
Yeah.
Just take it, and there's echoes of Harrison Ford in it, but it's very much his own take on it.
Yes.
And he's doing what he wants with it. And then the other person to talk about in this film, in Hitman, was Adria Arjona. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She played Madison, who was she was one of the But she's the main female character. I don't know why I'm explaining this.
What you were trying to explain is that she was one of the people contacting Glen Powell's character to get him to take a hit out on someone they want gone. But she is the standout one because he, I suppose, fell in love with her in the get-go. Maybe he didn't realise that, but instead of having her arrested, he let her go. So that's why she is the female lead. That's why she's the second main character. And oh, please, after you.
I was going to say, I really, I think what made this movie for me, okay, it's very much one of those kind of stories where boy meets girl, girl meets boy, but they meet under slightly false pretenses, so the boy has to pretend to be something else. He met her as the hitman, and so he has to continue this hitman persona outside of the very controlled, concise hitman situations. But I have to say, I think this was some of the most palpable chemistry between two leads I've seen in a long, long time. I feel like these two, they just worked so well together. I just so believed both of them that they worked so well together. Like, I don't know if you remember, but
I think I remember.
When Anyone But You was coming out, there was a lot of rumours swirling around about Glen Powell and Sydney Sweeney. But I honestly thought that these two in Hitman were just so much better. I thought that these two had so much chemistry, that they were genuinely in love with each other. I don't know how you felt, but I thought that every scene where they were together, that it just felt like they just wanted to tear each other's clothes off.
That they did, David. She's in Andor, that actress. She's in Andor.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know her from too much. I know her from Pacific Rim, Uprising, and a little-known film called Morbius, something that we slightly touched on earlier today.
I knew there was something else. I anticipated her appearance.
So,
yeah.
Thankfully, she's moving up. She started out low on Morbius and is moving up now towards Hitman. But I don't know. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you thought of their chemistry?
I thought their chemistry worked quite well, actually. Especially that scene where immediately she opens the door and he's got the phone. He's got his memo notes and he's saying, "Cops are listening. Follow my lead." While he's trying to play on the act of trying to get information out of her to get her to confess and have her arrested, where he's secretly trying to do the opposite. And I actually like that scene, and you can see it where how she does not only just play along, but she finds a bit of thrill in doing so, and he's encouraging her, and then her having a bit of crack out of it puts a bit of a smile on him, and they both collaborate, working well with each other, supporting each other in this charade, this little lie to get her to kick him out.
What's great about that is that scene comes immediately after they've had a fight where she has found out that he's been lying to her the entire time. And like you said there, that, you know, even though they've had this big fight and now he's trying to help her with the phone, there's still that chemistry there that she's, you know, they're giving each other the eyes. They're giving each other like, yeah, you like that, don't you? And stuff like that. And then like playing it up a little bit. And you can kind of see that he kind of realizes, okay, maybe this relationship isn't over. You know, if we just get through this, we can make it work from here. You know, I haven't blown my entire chance, because I thought it was a very funny scene when he drops the whole charade, when he drops the hitman persona, because
as soon as she admitted to killing her ex, and
that he was like, why would you do that? You know, and he just he's no longer Ron and he's back to being Gary, and I think that kind of shows his diversity as well in terms of the two characters he's playing, because as soon as she admits that, you can tell he switched back to the Gary character.
You know, that scene reminded me, or made me even think that, wow, we're watching a movie where if you hypothetically could construct a movie in your mind and place the main character from True Lies into this, and I'm not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm talking about Bill Paxton. If you made a movie heavily inspired by the character of Bill Paxton, and retooled his character, redid his background, didn't make him such a I suppose, a loser, and give him his own movie and, reboot the movie based on what his character should be, but sort of keep the same vein. That's this movie. Did you see True Lies?
No, I just agree with you.
Why have you not Why have you not seen True Lies? It's one of James Cameron's movies.
It's a lot. I don't know if you know this, Brian. There's a lot of movies. Okay, I can't watch every single one. I'm working my way through. Okay,
you can't watch Vin Diesel drive off a dam all the time. Like, come on.
Let Vin Diesel be. You brought Vin Diesel up so many times over the last few weeks. Do you want to jump into some flashbacks before we continue any further?
Sure.
Laura, play that jingle first. Thank you very much, Laura. So we got some flashbacks for Hitman. Flashback number 1. One of the personas that Gary plays when meeting a client is based on the character Patrick Bateman, played by Christian Bale in the film American Psycho.
Yeah, the subtitles gave that away.
Oh, you watched it with subtitles, did you?
Yeah, and in the subtitles it said, speaking with, I think, Patrick Bateman tone. So, and then that of course made sense because of his the combed hair and the suit and his posture.
Yeah, it's the one where he was in the motel, wasn't it? Yeah, I got that feel. I didn't watch it with subtitles, but I saw that. I kind of got that frame. I don't know about you, but I kind of I saw someone tweet this and I thought, yeah, I actually would watch this. Like, would you watch a mini series or even just a series where it's Glen Powell and each week he has to become a different hitman and he does it in a different disguise, and he plays out a full scenario of like meeting the person and going on these like shenanigans and hijinks. Like, he doesn't quite get the person, so he has to meet them multiple times and he has to continue playing these characters because he played a diverse amount of hitmen in this movie. There was one that reminded me a lot of like Tilda Swinton. There was one obviously with like Patrick Bateman. There was a couple that were like a Russian one. There was like rednecks. There was so many to name. Like, that was his whole thing, was that everyone in their head has their own version of a hitman, so he wanted to play to what he thinks that their version of a hitman would be.
I guess it would depend on what the scenario play out would be. Like, is he trying to catch them? Is he trying to stop them from doing it? Is it a variety of everything? I suppose I could compare it to another show that could be similar in every episode is different with a different set of characters, and that would be Poker Face, the series from Rian Johnson, where every episode she's solving crime, and she has a unique ability to tell when someone is lying by, and her like response is bullshit. If you lie to her, she'll say bullshit on impulse. So each week is different, even though it has an overall story of one or two recurring characters. So I suppose maybe if something could be similar to like that, maybe, yeah. But I never could see it being scheduled TV or anything like that.
No. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Like I said, I would just like to see Glen Powell, because in each of his hitman personas, I thought he was having a lot of fun. It seemed like he was having a lot of fun, and he was able to kind of show off his range in what kind of characters he can play.
You know what I actually thought when I was watching the majority of the disguises presented to us. I suppose the main montage before he meets the love interest. I thought I was laughing at it, but not in a bad way. I was laughing at all these different disguises and different scenarios and situations he was in about getting someone to have them arrested, and just the sheer vivid difference in his disguises. The red hair to the black hair, and then what clothes he would wear, and
like a tattoo on his neck,
make his eyes look different, or put something in his teeth. Like, everything was different, especially when it came to the Russian one. Like, the Russian one stood out. Like, Jesus, what a satire! But not really. And it's not bad. It's not bad. No, don't take me wrong. I felt like I was laughing at it as opposed to laughing with it, but I wasn't laughing at it as a joke.
I get you. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't intended to be funny, but you still found it funny, but you're not laughing at it like it's bad funny.
Yeah, but I wasn't laughing out hysterically. I was like, just what? Like, it was silly, it was ridiculous. It was certainly not serious. You know, for such a serious situation to be taken seriously in our reality, Sirius was not present.
Yeah, no, completely agree. So we'll move on to another flashback then. So the teenager giving Gary video games to kill his mom is based on an actual client meeting the real life Gary Johnson. Apparently, a Houston teenager named Sean Quinn, a brilliant kid with an IQ of 131, gave Johnson seven Atari computer games, $3 and $2.30 in nickels and dimes to kill a male classmate he thought was trying to win the affection of a girl he liked.
I hated that kid.
It was like, okay, yeah. It was a bit, that was when it got a little bit ridiculous, where it's like, okay, the police are doing a sting on a child, like someone that literally, and also how smart can you be? Oh yeah, I want you to kill someone, I'm going to give you 5 PS5 games. I was like, what the fuck is going on? That's when it got a little bit absurd for me.
Yeah, hated him. He was the only one I truly hated in this movie. He's like, what's it to you? Just kill the bitch. And then even when the mugshot came up and he had a face like a youth who needed to be given a bit of correction. Mm-hmm. What an asshole. I'm so glad that wasn't a character in the movie. That was just one of many.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I didn't stick with him for too long.
Yeah, one of many factors in the montage. You know, he turns around, he's got the scar in his face just to cater to the disguises and... Yeah, stupid kid. But that's actually interesting because that's inspired. That's actually true, that part. Because I did read, oh, this is inspired by a true story. But I didn't watch this with it being true in my head. I thought that was just, oh, well, maybe there was something that happened, like as many undercover operations go, but, you know, certainly pushing the boundaries in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking that whole true story, you know, based on a true story, we're taking that to its limits, you know, because it does even say at the end, you know, it has come in brackets, like, based on a true story, brackets, except for the killing, we made that bit up. You know, like,
oh, did it say that?
Kind of stretched it. It did, yeah. One of the last scenes when they show the kind of the pictures of Gary, it says in brackets, like, based on a true story, except for the killing, because we made that up. He never killed anyone.
I saw the pictures, but I missed that part. I missed the text. Okay.
And then the final flashback then, the real life Gary Johnson passed away early on in production and never got to see the film. Richard Linklater only talked to him on the phone and never got to meet him in person. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits, actually. I saw that 2022. Just goes to show that this was a 2023 movie. He died in 2022. I wonder how old he was, but I didn't realise this movie... Is it supposed to be set in the 80s or 70s?
I think it's one of those things where it's based on or it pulls from, but it is very much based in current day. Because think about it, like that whole scene where he's showing her the phone and he's able to change it and stuff like that, that is a very modern thing. That feels like, how many times have you watched a movie and you think, oh, if only they had their phone with them, if only they pulled out their phone and typed it out. Like, because that's what I was thinking was when they said like, oh yeah, we're gonna wire you and you're gonna go right now. I'd be like, okay, well, I would pull out my phone and write on it, you know, exactly what he did, you know. So it's very much a modern day film.
One of our listeners is either laughing hysterically at me for saying, yeah, was this set in the 70s or the 80s when iPhones, screens, touch screens. Enough said.
And that brings an end to our flashback section. Laura's, play us out of here. Thank you, Laura. So I kind of wanted to talk about the end of the film then as well as we kind of wrap up the episode. So I don't know about you, the ending seemed, I would almost say a little bit anticlimactic. It felt like that whole scene, like we were talking about with the notes when, you know, he's wired up and she's given off the false story. It felt like there needed to be a bigger crescendo. And I know that there is obviously then the scene afterwards where the detective comes in to the apartment and he's trying to blackmail them. But I felt like even that didn't have as much of a crescendo. It just kind of, the tension started to build and build and build, and then he passed out and that was it.
There was no action chase or shootout.
Yeah, not that I needed that, not that I really needed, but I would have liked a big argument or like something just kind of something really punchy.
There was no dialogue heavy scene to feel the gravity of the situation for our characters. I too not only felt it was anticlimactic, I thought it didn't feel earned. So I thought that I didn't agree with the decision to kill the detective, even though if he was a shitbag, because the movie never did enough of a job to make me feel like this guy's a piece of shit. He's got to go.
Yeah, see, there is obviously conversation amongst all of the other police officers where they say what he did and they say why they don't like him and that he's a piece of shit and they don't really want him on the team. But I never saw that.
Never saw it.
Yeah, like, because there is that whole scene where he meets them out when they're having dinner, but he just comes to say hello and then leaves.
Even then, in that scene, when you expect him, he's gonna do something really difficult for our I was about to say hero, but I suppose I could say protagonist, or Glen Powell.
Protagonist, yeah.
Glen Powell. Even then he didn't really. He didn't make things harder, and he didn't try to. I didn't see him attempting any murder here. I didn't see any. No. I didn't see any logical reason for vigilante justice be delivered to him. I didn't agree with it. I was just like, didn't feel earned, and I definitely didn't dig it. And I didn't dig that Glen Powell, a character who was undoubtedly 100% insistent that he does not play the role of the pretend hitman when the opportunity was first presented to him. You know, when he had to change from his shorts to the trousers.
Didn't want to be. Yeah.
To go from that to then the scene after he does it, becoming interested in it because he has a natural knack for it, and then all the way through the end, after many scenarios and meeting love on the way and becoming invested in it and playing up the whole facade of the tough guy that he's displaying himself to be, but never actually taking action as the tough guy. I thought him taking action in murdering the cop to save both their asses was, I won't say not out of nowhere, but if you tell me that the character that Glen Powell plays is not a psychopath or sociopath, then how is that not bad writing? So that's a takeaway I have from this movie. Glen Powell, the character that he is, he's a fucked up individual. He's definitely. I thought this movie was going to have a twist where he actually was somewhat of a psychopath or a hitman, that he had a previous life that led him to take a job at the college and teaching, and turns out he's actually got a history. He's actually wanted in some authority law organizations, or maybe he.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to play up something like that because I thought.
And this is just another one of his personas. Gary.
Yeah, I thought Gary was just another one of his personas, and that he had a really shady life in the past, and now it's sort of turned up again, and his co-workers had a genuine surprise. It's like, Jesus, wow, where did that come from, Daniel Day? And he's, I don't know what happened. I guess it just came to be. And here's me thinking, as I watched the scene, is this guy actually like a psychopath or something? Because he channels a lot of personas. And I just thought the whole movie didn't feel earned. And I suppose in the way I've just been describing this here, I didn't really overall enjoy the movie. I won't say it's bad. It's not bad. But I thought it was quite passive. For a movie called Hitman, it just made me want to go watch David Fincher's The Killer with Michael Fassbender a whole lot more.
Interesting. Okay.
When it comes to movies like that, I know, yes, he was fake. It was always intended that he was fake. But the scenarios and situations and then resulting actions that Glen Powell takes are sometimes present in Hitman assassin movies. And I thought, when I watch a Hitman assassin movie, there's many of them, I prefer to watch them leaning towards the tone and style of The Killer, Because when I watched that movie, and a lot of people didn't like it, I'm thinking, okay, more love for me to watch then. And because I really liked David Fincher's The Killer. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I acknowledge everything that it is. I acknowledge the lack of emotion and the lack of character arc in that movie, The Killer, and yet I still really liked it. Did I say it's one of my favourite movies of 2023? I might have. Maybe I pushed it out for another 1 or 2 movies. Don't know, can't remember, but I feel like watching The Killer sometime again. Hitman, at least it's just good to see another movie with Glen Powell in, and it be a contribution to his notability in fame and having the face to remember before he's intellectual propertied.
Yeah. I'd say I'd lie on the opposite end to you. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a movie that throughout, I never found myself bored. Every scene was engaging. I never thought about reaching for my phone ever. The only thing, like you said there about the ending and stuff like that, a bit anticlimactic, but the other thing then that I just felt it was really lacking and it really missed was just having a great soundtrack. I just felt like there was no needle drops, or the music was I don't even think it did have a soundtrack, that there was no songs in it. So I think that kind of when I associate something with Hitmen, something like that, sometimes you do have just a great needle drop, a great song to set sequence to, and I felt like this maybe was missing out on that.
Hey David, I think you should watch The Killer. That movie has a killer soundtrack.
I need to rewatch it again. I think maybe that's a date we should set up, is to rewatch that, because I did watch it, and I think me and you are flipped on The Killer and Hitman. I think I feel about The Killer the way you feel about Hitman, where you'd rather watch the opposite, So I think
the way I would describe it is, I think Hitman is like The Kingsman, and The Killer is Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's not an unfair comparison. I can understand where you're coming from. Yeah. And I think we're not saying either is bad.
Difference of opinion.
Yeah.
I like the first Kingsman. I like elements of the second one and elements of the prequel. So, and I want another one. I want another Kingsman. I just prefer more Mission Impossible movies.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
Well, just one more thing. The dirty cop, Jasper, did you know who he is?
Is he in The Walking Dead?
Correctamundo.
Yes. Excellent. I fucking knew it. I didn't look him up because I thought you might ask this. He played Dwight in The Walking Dead, didn't he?
And in Fear the Walking Dead.
And Fear. I never watched Fear the Walking Dead. On your advice to not watch it. So I won't be watching Fear the Walking Dead.
I hope that this is something of a breakout star for him. I hope Austin Emilio gets half the opportunity that Glen Powell got from Top Gun Maverick in this movie. I really hope, because I like him. I like Austin Emilio.
I liked him too. Honestly, even though he is a character who we are told is a bad guy, he's a dirty cop, but he's not even like a dirty cop. He doesn't become a dirty cop. I say that with inverted commas, until the end when he starts blackmailing them. Like, he's a bit of a piece of shit. But once again, we're only told that. We're not actually shown it.
Told he's a dirty cop. We weren't showing it. Honestly, he just came across as a bit of a douchebag. That's all.
Yeah. That's it. That's as far as
he deserved to be murdered for that. Yeah, don't think so.
No. Have you got a recommendation then before we let these people go?
Yes, I do. I think people should go check out Childish Gambino's new music video. The first 5 minutes, where it's all about Donald Glover rolling up, gonna class up the joint with his good tunes and music, in an era where, unfortunately, black people were still probably what's the word I'm looking for? Suppressed in all sorts of society, to a bar where even murder and violence can still take place. So it's one of those type of bar settings, and here he comes up with his left and right man with dressed up in lovely suits, and you can see sprinkles of humour that occurred in Atlanta, and by extension Mr. and Mrs. Smith, in this music video. And I saw the music video was released, then you told me about it, and then really, yeah, okay. And it took me a few days later to actually sit down and watch it, because it is 6 minutes, but as I said, first 5 minutes. And, okay, I'm watching it, yeah, cool. But reminds me of some Michael Jackson videos where his music videos will start off as setting a bit of a story, and then we'll roll into the song and dance. And then Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, does initiate his song and dance, and wow, is this guy not the closest thing we have to a Michael Jackson in our modern day and age?
I think Childish Gambino is someone that we don't deserve. And I think that anytime anyone questions, like, oh yeah, Childish Gambino, he always says he's so busy. It's like, well, what is he doing? It's like, just wait, because whatever he puts out is fantastic. You know, I sometimes I fall into the trap of it myself, where I'm like, busy doing what? What's he doing? He hasn't done anything in ages. And then something comes out and you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is really, really good. But that song, you didn't even mention the name. It's called Bigfoot Littlefoot.
Yes. Bigfoot. That's the thing. Even the name of the song, it forgets me, because it's the music video and it's choreography, and it's just a smile he gives as well. Oh, the smile, and those white teeth, shiny white teeth, sparkle in it. And yeah, busy doing what? And then he shows up in Across the Spider-Verse in that one cameo. It's like, yeah. Like, I know it's just a cameo, but like, they got him in 2 shots, and it's like, we know you're busy, but yeah, what? But like, it's, how long? Like, come on, look at him dance in that music video. That is not done in a week. That is years and years of experience. And yes, he's so busy, he cannot return to a second season of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now, we have both reasons of thinking why that is. We disagree on that, but maybe we can save that for a potential weekly Wednesday waffle. But in the meantime, go watch Bigfoot Littlefoot. I'm going to show you how to boogie like this.
I think I'm going to rewatch that now, actually, once we wrap this up. I'm going to recommend something. I'm going to recommend something really quick. I'm going to do Welcome to Wrexham, which is the documentary about Wrexham Football Club. It was bought by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. It's wrapping up its 3rd season now, as they progress through the various leagues in the English football. And for any football heads, it's a great story. For any non-football heads, it's a great documentary and it's a great story. And I can tell you that this is good because Laura and I watched it and she loves it. She is as interested to watch it as I am, which is always a great sign that it's not just me putting it on and she has to watch it with me. She is just as interested and has become interested in the football as well because of it. And I've been following it now over when season 2 came out, I watched it. And so kind of for the last year, I've been nearly just I haven't been really watching the games, but I've been looking at the table and the standings and seeing how well Wrexham are doing. So I'm following them now because it's such a good documentary, and you get to see, obviously, a little bit more of an insight into the behind the scenes of running a football club. You get to see more behind the scenes of the owners, Rob and Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. But then you also get to see behind the scenes of the actual players themselves, and then a lot of spotlight is shone on the community, on the town of Wrexham and the people within the town. And I think it's a lovely way to do a documentary. There seems to be a lot of love from Rob and Ryan.
And I hope it gives all the love it deserves.
Furiosa, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Talking Pictures Podcast. Thank you very much, listener, for listening all the way through. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen. We'd appreciate it if you make sure to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Letterboxd. We're on everything. All of our links are in the description down below. Make sure that you give us 5 stars on your podcast app of choice. If you can leave us a little review, I'd appreciate it. Recommend it to a friend. It's always great. Make sure to check out, we have a new episode every single Wednesday, and we have a bonus episode every other week. So if you like bonus episodes, you want to hear us talking about more stuff, listen out for those. And if you have any suggestions on topics that you'd like to hear us discuss, send it into talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com.
Thank you for hosting.
Hey, Brian. I mean, fuck, I keep messing it up. Thanks, Furiosa.
Don't edit that. You have to keep that in.
And cut.